Rishi Sunak has hit out at the complete overreach of an illegitimate ruling by the European Court of Human Rights that imposes a duty on governments to achieve net zero. The intervention from Downing Street comes ahead of a final round of votes on the Rwanda bill, which could pass by the end of this week, allowing the government to press ahead with plans for deportation flights. However, there are fears that the long-awaited flights could yet be thwarted by judges in Strasbourg. Mr. Sunak's comments will fuel speculation that he's considering including an unprecedented pledge in the Tory party manifesto to pull out of the ECHR, with sources telling the Telegraph newspaper that this has not been ruled out. So, is leaving the ECHR the new Brexit? And should Rishi Sunak make it his flagship policy going into the next election? To debate this, I'm delighted to welcome my former government minister, very good friend of mine, television personality, and of course newsmaker for this evening, Anne Widdecombe. Hello, Anne. Good evening to you.
Hello, Mark. Hi.
And you wanted us out of the European Union. Do you want us out of this European court as well? Would you unilaterally remove the UK from this structure with immediate effect?
Of course. I mean, you can tell there's a general election coming. Quite suddenly, Rishi Sunak, who could have taken this action when we had the very first Rwanda ruling, and suddenly discovers that he would like to pull us out of the ECHR. Well, what's he been waiting so long for? Answer, to put it in a manifesto to look good. But then they put Brexit in their manifesto, and where did that get us?
And the ECHR was formed in part by British judges and politicians in the aftermath of the Second World War and to prevent another Adolf Hitler. Do we really want to disown such an organisation?
Yes, we do want to disown it, because just like the Geneva Convention on Asylum, which was 1951, it was designed for a completely different purpose for what it's now being used for. And I think Rishi Sunak is right, but I wouldn't trust him to do it, because, as I say, he could have done it when we got the first Rwanda ruling.
If Britain ditches the ECHR, will it destroy our reputation as a country? And does that weigh on your mind?
Oh, look, when you actually look at ECHR rulings, we've got one of the best records of actually implementing them. Other countries treat it as advisory, which indeed it is, and they just don't implement the rulings. Now, we could do that, or we could be simply honest and say, enough, we're coming out. I don't think it will damage our reputation at all. What it might do is get a bit of focus on the part of ECHR as to what its role actually is, and we might seek some international agreement on that.
And the mood music suggests that flights to Rwanda could happen in the weeks ahead. Are you holding your breath?
No, it's very dangerous to hold my breath. The fact is that we've been promised this now so often and for so long. I will believe it when I actually see it. When the first flight leaves for Rwanda, and assuming it's got more than a couple of people on board, when a serious flight leaves for Rwanda, then I will believe it. But I still say, even if that does happen, and I support it if it does happen, he has spent 2 years with no plan B, during which time our shores have been invaded, there's no other way to put it, by illegal migrants.
And would Reform UK adopt the Rwanda plan, or is it your view that it's an expensive white elephant? Is it intrinsically flawed?
Oh, I don't think it's intrinsically flawed, but I think it is limited. And what Reform have made very clear is we're not going to rely just on Rwanda. Absolutely not. We are going to detain in secure accommodation all new asylum seekers, so that we know where they are. They can't disappear into the underground economy.
And that sounds like a prison.
It isn't a prison, but it is a secure reception.
What's the difference?
Well, I mean...
Can they go for a walk? Can they get a pret a manger?
Hold tight. We've already had, believe it or not, secure reception centres. They were there in my time. And they were used as, they were even called detention centres, but they were not the same as prisons. Families were together, for example. Children were getting proper education. It was a completely different situation. The only analogy with prison is you can't leave.
And last but not least, a life-size statue created in the memory of the late, great Southend West MP, Sir David Amess, has been unveiled. Sir David, who was a legendary and loved local MP, a highly esteemed parliamentarian, was fatally stabbed in his constituency in October of 2021. I understand you were in attendance. Tell me about the statue. Was it and is it a fitting tribute?
The statue is a tremendous tribute to David. The sculptor has got his expression exactly. I mean, all of us who looked at it when it had been unveiled said, yes, that's David. And I think it's a good memorial to him. And his light lives on. And we forget about the man who cut short his life and brought so much distress.
On that, we can agree. Anne, what a treat. I wish we had longer. We'll catch you in a week's time. My thanks to former government minister, author and television personality Anne Widdecombe.